It was nice. It was really nice little house. Fireplace with insert. I'm on a cul-de-sac dead end. Beautiful evergreen trees all around me, and it was nice. Hello, I'm not really reading the comments at the moment because I'm kind of away from the screen. Okay, so Paul relates to his story that um, got to the point he wasn't really even dating, and he tried going on these dating sites, and he met maybe four different women and said, "No way, I can't do this." Now, one good example. This is a great example. Geez, is a great example why. I guess there's this woman that maybe worked at the same car dealership that he did. Paul, I want to talk to you. Oh, sure. Well, her name was Joe, maybe short for Joanne. She walks up to him and says, "Look, my name is Joe, not Honey. And if you call me Honey again, I'm going to call all this fucking mother and have a big lawsuit against him." This is American women. There you go. They're wearing the pants or want to wear the pants. They want your set of testicles. It's a great reason to get the fuck out of the United States. I've always known that. I've had a girlfriend that said, "Frank, you see things in black and white. You see things in shades of gray." She was another girl was challenging me on how I see things in life. Yeah, loving my black and white photography, I actually did see things in shades of gray, actually. Especially when I printed my stuff. It was all had to do gradations of black and white in between gray tones and all that. But let's not get technical with that. You know, women were taking on a different role. The women's lib movement came in many years back. They wanted to wear the pants. They wanted to bring home the bacon, which was nothing wrong with that. When they became empowered, they changed. Now, this is not to say that a woman should be barefoot and pregnant in the house. No, I don't buy that at all. I'm not saying that women have a certain role to play, because that's really biased. It's all antiquated standards. But it got to a point where we had these Karens out there that were trying to challenge you in everything you did, everything you said. I worked for the city, and I remember she happened to be gay, and we're not knocking the gays. I'm just telling you a story. And I've seen this story in a governmental process because it was a governmental job, city government. And I would casually talk to her out on the dock because I worked at the warehouse at the time. And just casual talk. I'm out there maybe having a smoke or something. Casual talk. She was a temporary working for the electrical department. They wanted all the man's jobs. They wanted the electrical, plumbing, all that shit. Because we want to be equal. We want to be equal. We want your fucking set of testicles. And we're out to prove something that we could do your job and maybe better than you can. Some were very good. No problem with the trades. No reason why the women can't get into different trades. No reason at all. That's not the problem. Well, this woman happened to be gay. And just a regular conversation like any day. You're talking to people out on the delivery dock in front of the warehouse store. Because before we went in the warehouse, we'd get there a little early. We'd be bullshitting. Some of us who smoked have a cigarette outside, bullshit with each other, Yeah, normal stuff. But this woman, I didn't know, went around, no matter where she worked or what department, she was trying to find ways of suing people. Does that sound familiar? Something in Hawaii? Different way, but sound familiar? Okay, you got your Karens out there and stuff? Okay. Well, she was a gay Karen, okay? And she would take purposely out of context anything you'd say. She tried unsuccessfully 12 times in these departments to try to find fault with almost every guy she worked with. Okay? Didn't work. But she tried. Now, for example, when Paul was approached by this woman, who calls herself Joe. What, she wants to relate to being a man or something? I don't know. Probably name was Joanne. My name is Joe. And if you call me honey again, and as Paul, old dog, explained, he said, I grew up in the 50s, 60s, 70s, just like I did. He's about my age, somewhere around there. You're in a restaurant, so hey, honey, could you make me another, put another pot of coffee on or something? Or that's normal. It was a term of endearment. It was not, not trying to chastise you, not trying to belittle a woman. Honey, could you make me another cup of coffee? I'll have another piece of cheesecake with that if you don't mind. We all did that. Said, honey, whatever. But when you get a woman of that nature who's a real sexist, a woman who is into all this fucking women's live shit, and it's not shit because I think everybody should have equal benefits. I have no problem with that at all. It's how far they go with it when they want preferential treatment. Why should anybody, whether you're black, gay, transgender, lesbian, African American, whatever, black, why should you have more rights than me or you? Why? Fuck the preferential treatment shit. Fuck that. Everybody should be treated equally. That's how I feel. Tell that to a Karen, or tell that to somebody that's looking to make money off you. And boy, I had that experience in Hawaii. Damn, did I have that experience. Paul went on to say about how dysfunctional his family turned out to be. When you have nothing, and Paul realized that the only thing he had to look forward to was, to watch a movie on TV. His friends, and I went through that, were all married. They were all married. Or had girlfriend, whatever it was. They didn't have time to spend with you. They didn't have any time. They have responsibilities. So Paul, as it happened to me too, found himself without any regular friends to hang around with because everybody was doing their thing. Of course, when you're in a relationship with somebody, that's your commonality. There we go, it's commonality. Maybe your wife's friends or your girlfriend's friends were your friends. When a relationship breaks up, they're not no longer your friends anymore, or most of them aren't. But they got a life. They're married. They're not going to go out with you and party and all that stuff. They got a responsibility. They got a wife and they got perhaps some children, right? Okay, so I understand that what Paul said. And you wonder why, and never mind for the women's situation, let's put that to the side as far as coming here for the women. Now, Paul, in his story, found himself in a position where, he was not living on really much income. And he did his research and figured that Philippines seemed to be the place to be. And it worked out really well for him. Okay, so eventually he dated. He's got a girlfriend now for how many years? He helped her out by getting her a show. She's making buku money, which is helping her out. He's making really good money on his show because he's got all these subscribers now. Got him from another channel, be an appearance on there. He even did a couple of things where he got his girlfriend in bikinis and stuff like that, kind of baiting people. That's why I guess I didn't watch, or not. I'm not an avid viewer, or hardly a viewer at all of Paul. Of Paul himself at his show. There was something about his laugh that I hated his laugh. But by accidentally, I seen this show of his, and it was put on at least 3 years ago, where he did tell his story of how he got out here. And I could relate to that. I mean, wow, this dysfunction in the family. He had a kid that strung out on drugs, whatever he did, he's spending 20 years in jail, probably still in there now. Another kid that was going in that direction. Okay, and I don't know about the other kids. He had 3. 2 of them were adopted, and 1 of them was biological. Everything in life turned on him. His relationships in marriage, The car dealership, the recession caused all this problem. He was worth about $1 million in assets. On his forehead to go to his 401k. I would imagine that his big house he had probably devalued. Shit could hit the fan when you least expect it. America is no longer a place for anybody to live. The drugs are so bad. And that drug situation did hit my family. I can relate to old dog in that way. Dysfunction. Yeah, I have a sister I don't talk to, got a bug up her ass. It's not like something I did. Unfortunately, I had a daughter I love to death, raised her on my own since she was 5. But when she got her first boyfriend, everything changed. Changed a lot. I don't know who she was somewhat time after that. And our relationship has always been sour because our politics were different. The way we see the world is different. And I really don't have any contact with her. She'll call my brother now and then. Now I'm hearing that she's 5.5 months pregnant now. 4 wasn't enough for her at the time. She's with a different guy now, not the husband. He's the asshole that was in jail. All dysfunctional. And after her husband, she was dating a total fucking loser. Someone kind of like our Mantis friend, very close to him. Pothead, whatever, drinking and work at a head shop. At least he worked. Well, he didn't work half the time because my daughter was his mommy. Place to park his hat. Total loser. And you can't argue with your child over that. They're in love with somebody. They don't want to see the truth. The same as on YouTube. People don't want to see the truth about other people on here. They're going to go by what somebody else says, so they develop a reputation for you. It's not that you develop the reputation. They develop the reputation for you. So by me telling my daughter, this is a great story. I love it. The guy's a bum. You could do better than that. Why? But I love him. Why? Give me a reason why you love him. He doesn't respect you. Even came over with a girl from work that he claimed was his friend. He was fucking her. What do you want a man that, but I love him? You can't, there's certain people you can't change. As much as you may love a family member and they are your blood, don't mean anything. I was a damn good father. Not a perfect father, but I was a damn good, and I did it all on my own. But I get bitch slapped in the face for everything I've done for my kid. I changed her dirty diapers just as well as the mother did. Every night, crying. We had turns. I voluntarily get up, change her diapers, clean her up, make a bottle of formula. So when we got divorced, she was about 5 years old. I raised her. The court gave me custody because I was a better parent and proved it in every fucking way. My daughter had somewhat of a middle-class life all the way through till she left the house. She had a boyfriend and went on from there. She never had a bad birthday or a bad Christmas. No. I didn't physically mistreat her. None of the above. But they grow up and they disrespect you. So I got a dysfunctional sister. I relate to Paul. Dysfunctional brother, drugs, everything. I didn't turn out that way. And I'm so glad because I learned from them. I was the youngest. I was spoiled. I guess I was. And there's a lot of sibling rivalry that goes on in families. I finished high school when they never did. I finished college. Yes, I did finish college. Dawn, got my degree, went on in life from there. Managed to have 3 houses in my life so far. Nobody in my family achieved that. So I was the so-called achiever. Sibling rivalry happens. Okay. So I don't, You should never be in a position where you blame yourself for something if there's no blame. The fact that me and my daughter don't see eye to eye, and I'm relating to Paul on some of this stuff here. It's not my fault. I'm not going to take the fault. I'm just not. If it means in my natural life never seeing her, talk to her again, that's that's it, I guess. You got to know that you did your job. They flew out of the nest, and what goes on in their life after that is up to them. Whether they develop psychological issues, emotional issues, depression issues, I didn't cause it. You got to get your life under control sometimes. Sometimes you have to do what you need to do to get your life under control. For the most part, I've always had my life under control. And if I felt it wasn't, I did something about it. Now, here I am. Fast forward. I left everything I owned or knew of in the United States to be in a foreign country. Never would have thought that. I never would have thought that. Ever. But in retrospect, I look back now, even though a lot of naysayers, my daughter and other people would say, why the fuck do you want to move to the Philippines? Or my brother would say, this is where you were born. This is your country. This is my country. Well, I grew up in a country called the United States. It doesn't mean that it worked out good for me. And with all the crazy political movements and everything and liberation movements and civil unrest in the United States, I had enough. Enough to leave my job, not even get vested. I didn't wait. I owned 2 acres in beautiful Hawaii, and I took advantage of that, and I threw my resignation letter on my manager's desk, said, I'm out of here. Because people on the job weren't doing their job. That's how, in part, I got injured, which turned out well for me in a way. But because they didn't do their job, I got hurt physically. I said, fuck this. I was working truthfully with a bunch of fucking losers. I couldn't handle it anymore. I'm getting my ass to Hawaii. Got 2 acres there. I'm going to build a house. And I did. It turned out very well for me later on because I had a little equity in the house, and that helped me remain in Hawaii, rather in the Philippines here, where I moved out. Of course, the main reason I moved here was, of course, the catalyst, which was a woman who I've been ever since. I've been with ever since. So that was a good decision. But you see, I sat down and I made a conscious decision, and I added up things. What's best for me? Now, as Paul says in his video, we're all thinking that the grass is always greener on the other side, and it's not. As it turned out for me, the grass was greener this time on the other side. It was. Because sometimes you have nothing in the United States. Some people had material things, they had the 401k, they had all that shit, but they weren't happy. They weren't happy with the women out there because they had their head up their asses. They were nothing but trouble. They became Karens. And intolerable situations. Attitude problems with women. I was starting to see some chick one time that I met over at Green Lake over in Seattle, a public lake. Got to know her just a little bit. I didn't know her very long. This is how crazy they are. And I love this story. Not a long story, but, she was real nice to me and had my first apartment out there. She saw that I didn't have a lot of cups and things like that. So she brought over some cups and stuff she didn't need, dishes. Oh, thank you, Got to a point where we were getting sexual. And I don't know what happened. she kind of went off on me in some crazy tantrum. Uh, to this day, I couldn't figure it out. Nothing transpired with us that was bad. It was during sex, and never had a reaction like that with a woman before. I've always had favorable. No, I did favorable. Never had a problem. I wasn't doing anything wrong. I wasn't hurting her in any way. This is bizarre shit, man. Then she gets mad at me, and I don't know what the hell she said, that she left. I'm left like, huh? What? Next thing I know, a few days later, I get a knock at my door. Who is it? She kind of hit to the side, and some other chick. A couple guys came over and was asking me about this girl. What happened? I said, why don't you tell me what happened? I met her at Green Lake. And she's kind of went off on me for some reason I didn't even know. To this day. I looked the guy, big guy, straight in the eyes. I said, look, I never did anything wrong with this woman. I said, she was really nice to me, brought me over some cups and stuff. I said, that was cool. That was really nice of her. And yes, I said I did have sex with her. And that's when all of a sudden, she kind of went off on me and exploded. I'm thinking, what the fuck was that all about? Point being, all types. All types. I've been with a woman that had voluntary sex with me. She had a boyfriend. And I knew the guy was cheating on her. She lived right up the block from me. And we had voluntary sex at her house. And what does she do? She goes around and tells him. What did you tell him that for? So he was mad at me, but he knew. And he was cheating on her, so it didn't bother him. It didn't bother him at all. But the point being was, these chicks go off on you, man. These are American women. You can't trust them. You don't know what their motives are from day one. You know, what happened with that girl when I had sex with her? Why did she go off? Did she have a bad experience in her life? Perhaps. Was she ever raped by a guy, maybe? Maybe something came back to her? Fuck if I know. Never took advantage of a woman. Martha, weird name, another one comes over that I met at this party. Beautiful blonde gal, busty, comes over my apartment, same apartment. I'm just going to show you, but this is a good thing, crazy thing. But see what a nice guy I am. Now, Martha had just broken up with her boyfriend, someone she really had feelings for. And she was feeling down and depressed. And she was about to go out and just get fucked. Okay, she met me, seems like a nice guy, comes over to my place, and she couldn't help but talk about a relationship. She goes, it's kind of hot in here. Do you mind if I take my blouse off? And she's sitting there in just her bra, the top of her bra. And I'm like, holy shit. Whew. Okay. What was that all about? Then she stopped herself and started talking about her boyfriend. And I had a good listening ear, literally. And she really appreciated that. I did not hit on her. I could have continued to, try to hit on her or make an effort to actually hit on her. And she appreciated that I didn't. Years later, many, many years later, I got in contact with her, and she remembered me. She remembered me. Always remembered me, because I treated her so well that I could have took advantage of her. She was very vulnerable. I didn't take advantage of her at all. And she really appreciated that. She was going to give in to me as a way of spiting her boyfriend also, another method that American women use all the time. I'm going to go screw this guy because he screwed on me. Or, I want to get even with him, make myself feel better because we broke up and I'm pissed that he broke up with me and I'm going to go out and get laid. Happened to me with another woman who was friends with this gal at this bar. And I had just finished. I was out that night at the bar restaurant doing live music. She wasn't a woman I was attracted to or nothing. She was a little bit weighty. Frank, can you come over? She's all the way in Ballard, which was a good distance from where I lived. I said, I just came back from the bar. I'll let you fuck me. I said, why would you? What is this all about? Okay. I went over there and, well, we did. We did have sex. I regretted it later on for another reason I won't go into at all. But the example being made here is that she wanted to, for herself, if anything else, feel good about the situation that she got dumped by her boyfriend. So I want to just go out and fuck some guy. Okay, you follow me. To myself get even with the situation, on a personal level, to satisfy herself, I came across some really incredible situations with women, mostly I'm in Seattle. So I've never took advantage of any woman. I never tried to take advantage of her. I would never take advantage of any woman. Never did. I was likable in that way because I was myself, and women generally had no problem with who I was. They generally had no problem how I spoke my mind. I was very honest. I was very truthful. That was me. I'm still the same guy. I still will say something on my mind. No matter how much I love a woman, if I got something on my mind, I don't agree with something, I'm going to let her know. Doesn't mean we have to get into a big battle, but I still stick to my principles. Now, in Paul's situation, it got to a point, he went to travel a couple of times. He figured, I'm ready. I'm ready to get out of the United States. And because I'm not making a big income, when he hit 62, he could get that money. I know I got to be able to live on this money, and I found one place I can do it. And by golly, it was the Philippines. It was the Philippines, where he still is now. I guess he's doing a lot better because he has a rented place, not expensive place. His girlfriend's working or whatever, and certainly making money on YouTube. He's making probably a very attractive amount of money, I guess, on his YouTube channel, plus the Social Security. So he's okay. He doesn't regret it. He does. So I could relate to Paul on some of his issues where sometimes family goes against you when you don't expect it. You find out how dysfunctional your family really is on an extreme level. Friends that you've had are married, they're spending time with their friends. You could find yourself being very alone. And I did, on so many occasions, feel the same way that Paul did. I got nothing here anymore. Nothing to win and nothing to lose. So when the opportunity did come to go to visit the Philippines, like on vacation, I did it. Took advantage numerous times. I came out here till I met somebody who I'm still with today. I'm not a runaround. I'm with the same person today. And I am happy. Things did turn out for me. My ducks in a row turned out. I have an income that I can certainly live off alone. I'm not going to live the high life necessarily, but I could live a good life, especially since I don't have to pay rent. I went and bought a house, which was one of the better things I've done. Because it not only does good for me, but it does good for my partner because it's going to help her future. It's called love, guys. Love instead of just hate shit. If someone has been really good to you, you're good back. If they're true to you, you be true to them. Okay? That's the way it is. That's called payback. It could be the other way around too. Payback for people that deserve payback for something that they've done that wasn't really righteous. Payback. Yeah. Look, I've been called a lot of things in my life, but mostly just on YouTube. just on YouTube. In my personal life, I never had problems like this at all that I've had on YouTube. But then again, soccer counts. It's not like an army of people that try to find fault with me. It's not at all. It's a handful of people under soccer counts. That's all. I know that. That's why I'm still on here. There's a lot of people that do appreciate my show. I noticed as a fact. People like to make fun of me. Why? Because they can. And why? I don't know. It gives them some kind of satisfaction, some sick way. Never chased me off YouTube. I'm still here because I've always got something to say. I always will have something to say. And I will say it like I always do. It's never stopped me before. So, the motto and moral of this story is we all have a reason why we left our country, whether it be the United States or Canada, but in this particular situation, we're talking about United States of America, where it is no longer united. There is no uniting in that country, or nobody is united in the United States. Back in the olden days, maybe, there was more unity. Okay. Even unions brought people together when they really started getting unions together. Fair job practices, fair wages, some kind of a representation for your job. I was never against unions, but a lot of them didn't do shit. I belonged to a union, the laborers union. I forgot the number of the union, but I was with the laborers union. And they're there to help you. And sometimes they do, and a lot of times they don't. Union. The Union Label. You remember that song? Don't buy any products unless it has a Union label on it, right? Don't buy any products now unless it has a China label on it. How the world changed, huh, folks? Don't you find it's just amazing? Just absolutely amazing. So don't judge somebody by what somebody else says. That never works. Most of you really don't know me at all. I've gone through a lot of hell in my life, like a lot of people have. I've experienced some things like old dog, new tricks, Paul. That's why we're talking about him on his show, because I relate. It was his job, what happened. I relate with the economy was sucky. Broken relationships, like in a marriage. Experiences he had in America with all these Karens. The United States is no place for a real man, any man. It's just not. Those days are over. That's why you are here. So if you are here, try being respectable to this culture. Treat people righteously, because it was your conscious choice that got you to come out here in the first place. Be a good example of a foreigner. Don't come out here and cause trouble and havoc everywhere. You're representing the very country that you knocked, saying it was bad, this and that, but what are you doing? You're doing some of the things that made you run away from the country, right? Some of the shit that you didn't like. And what are you doing? You come to this country and you're pulling shit on another American. You're doing shows about him, defaming him, making crazy allegations, putting channels under his name, and copying every show. You're not a good example if you're living out here as an expat when you do that. And it says a whole lot about yourself. But to summarize all of this, you have to do things in life that you feel important to you. If it means that you're not in touch with family members anymore, or certain family members, that's just the way it has to be. You know, I love my daughter, always will. I cannot force her to call me. We went through this on and off for years, back and forth. But when she needed to talk to daddy, she called me. But she's very preoccupied now with the new boyfriend. And having 4 kids to raise now, a new one on the way, which freaked me out. She's a baby machine. She likes having babies, nothing wrong. A lot of women have a lot of kids. She likes kids too. And she's like 38 years old and she's 5.5 months pregnant. I'm like, what? Apparently, she met this guy, uh, which was one of her friends through her ex husband. Oh, God. I'm not sure who he is. But right away, he's living with her. And she's 5.5 months fucking pregnant. Hello? Get your psychology together before you go out and have another child. Sometimes people are afraid of being lonely, is what it is. They're afraid of being lonely. So they figure having a bunch of kids is going to solve that problem. That's not the best idea. With having that many kids comes a big responsibility. Don't do it. Not for that reason. You figure you'll never be alone because now she sees her kids are getting older. Why not another baby? Now I've got this baby to raise. I'm never going to be alone, no matter what. But that's not a reason to have another child. Now, I love my daughter with all my heart. I even got pictures on the wall of her. She can have pictures of me. I raised her on my own. I don't know what appreciation I got from that. I did everything a man and a father could do for their child out of love and responsibility. This is what you get in the end. But you know what? This is not an unknown story. This happens to a lot of us. It's people that are not in touch with anybody, their family whatsoever. Maybe their parents died. You got siblings that kind of in their own bizarro world out there that you just can't be part of because in life you have to avoid stressors. If these people stress you out in one form or way, it doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter that they're your family. No, don't matter at all. They're still people. They're still human. They can still stress you out. You don't have to see eye to eye with anyone. You don't have to fall into their mindset. You don't have to do that. I didn't. I didn't. I'm very proud of the fact that I successfully raised my daughter on my own. That I, as a man, got custody of his daughter. Not only got custody, but the mother, for several years, had to pay me X amount of money per month. What guy ever gets that position ever? Okay? I must be a responsible person. I must be. Because it always goes to the woman. The child always goes to a woman, not a single man. How did I do this? Well, I took good care of her. A simple cold, she'd be at a doctor. She needs dental work. Took care of that. Anytime she's sick, anything, I was there. I took care of her. I was like a mother hen. Overprotective, as she would say. But I don't mind. I'm very happy and proud that I was overprotective of her. Because I didn't want anything to happen to her. That's called a caring parent, by the way. Loving your child. But you can't force your child to love you back on the level that you want. You can't force anyone, even a friend. If you have differences with your friends, you could either try to bring these differences, come together on something, okay, and get over your differences. Sometimes you can't. I've had friends that I never. Good friend Terry had some differences with him. I used to work with him a couple of times in Alaska. I know Terry had some problems with his lungs. I don't know if he's still alive today. But you can't change people's minds sometimes. You could try. You can't change people's behavior and how deep set this behavior is, where it comes from, As with my daughter, as I said, I love her to death. But unfortunately for her, she already has a parent that wants nothing to do with her mother. Another psychological basket case, her mom, she really was. Oy vey. I'm so glad when I divorced her. Yes, I divorced her. That's how it works. She didn't divorce me. And no, she didn't leave me for a black man. She's dated black men before, but she never left me for a black man. She cheated on me with a black man, though. Yes. But she didn't leave me for a black man. Through my own investigation, I discovered, I'm very good at investigation, discovered that she was cavorting with a guy at work. Called her out on it. When I found out it was the truth, get your clothes, get the fuck out of here. Simple as that. You're out of here. Call your sister, have her come over, pick up your things. But I want to take Shauna with me. No, you're not taking her anywhere. This is your home. And she remained in my house. How did I do that? Because I was a good parent. Good parent. Yeah. The court awarded full custody to me with visitation rights for the mom. But even that wasn't good. Because the mom had freedom now. Freedom, 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 freedom. You go, girl. Yeah, it's your freedom. Worked in a bar, picking up men in bars, started drinking. Court's seen all this shit. It's yours, pal. Stable environment in the house. Our dogs. She was staying with her mother in a trailer home. It wasn't the life for my daughter. I took her out of that, and I gave her a decent life. Now, whatever transpired between me and my daughter, little idiosyncrasies that I had, and everybody has some, and she has some too. I surpassed all that shit with her. I didn't give her a toy when she was going to a rage fit over something. I said then, look, I'll give you this back and you get your temper down. And she would try to punch at me. That's what she did. I said, that ain't going to work. Behave, calm down. I'll give you your whatever it was back that I took at the time. There are no privileges when you act that way. She knew that. So, binding this all together, you got a lot of dysfunctional people in a family, and these days that's pretty damn normal. There was dysfunction in my family, but I didn't want to be part of that dysfunction. So if it means not talking to a still alive sister, and I do talk to my brother, actually. We weren't talking for a couple of weeks, but we're talking again now. Because he is my brother, but blood has nothing to do with it. There's something called compassion. Compassion. And out of respect to my mother and father who are no longer with me, there was their child too. I've helped my brother in so many ways I can't even count. And he realized the wrong he did with the tenants and wanted to be friends with them. He admitted sometimes being lonely, you get awfully desperate and you want to reach out to whoever's going to reach out back to you, but not understanding that these people were not real. They weren't true to him. They weren't true. So loneliness really sucks. Like in Paul's case, when he found himself in his 50s, no woman, who's been divorced twice, pretty much his job was over. Recession fucked him all over financially, over $1 million. He had to do something with his life to get his life together. And Paul suffered anxiety attacks and depression like I did. Yeah. Sometimes these things all come together and they can crush you, but you could rise above everything, which I actually did. Sometimes a little help from my friends, if you know what I mean, but you do what you have to do to keep it together, period, no matter what it is. Now, fortunately, I never got into alcoholism and drinking and that kind of shit. My savior. So everything came together for me. But not everything comes together with people. And United States, if you happen to be from United States, you completely understand where I'm coming from and where Paul Old Dog New Tricks is coming from on his show. Okay? I understand him a lot better. And for a while, I didn't like him. So I didn't like his laugh or something. And I don't like used car salesmen. I just don't. Just don't. But I heard his story and I gave it another thought. I said, you know what? I can really relate to what he just had to say. Wow. Wow. You could look up his show somewhere. You can probably find it under the title, Why I Moved or Came to the Philippines. Check it out. I'll give him that plug, which he doesn't need. He's got a big show, lots of subscribers and viewers. But go check out his story and tell me if you can't relate to that. So if you think that you've been singled out in your life somehow by society, that you're a bad guy, you're not always a bad guy. It's just how life went for you. Instead of a straight line, it was crooked with lots of curves. Sometimes things don't always go your way, but sometimes they do. But you can always get back on your feet. I've had bankruptcies because I needed to. There's things I've done that I needed to do. I needed to get out of a relationship. I got a divorce pronto. Within the next 2 weeks. I already had papers in her hand. She couldn't believe it. And had custody of my daughter. So when I work on something, I work hard on it. And I make sure I win. Because I'm a winner, not a loser. I've never been a fucking loser in my life. When I made up my mind to do something, I did it. That's what brought me here. Modern day. Ducks in a row. Quack, quack. House, relationship. I've got an income, couple of bucks in the bank. You gotta say more. Thanks for listening. Don't get down on yourself too much, folks, because don't let people get you down, because everybody has a situation. Everybody. Nobody's perfect out here, and I certainly ain't perfect, but I'll tell you what. Don't let people get you down. Hello, Pennywise. I'm sorry I have not acknowledged anybody here. Yeah. No shit. Because Bummer's running away. That's why. He's in hiding from the law. Okay, that's all I'm going to say on that. Now that is a loser. By definition, in every other way. That or he is a loser. Don't judge people, generally people, for what you hear on here, because although I may be very controversial on my show, I didn't create the controversy, not really. It was created for me for their own entertainment. I'm still here. I don't know why, but I am still here. I'm a strong man in every way. Always been. I get through all these hurdles in life when they come up. And I stand on my own 2 feet until the day comes and I can no longer do that. Thanks for listening. Subscribe, please, if you haven't subscribed.